I'm Andrew Massey, and I'm Professor of Government at the International School for Government, soon to become the King's School for Government. I've been here since the beginning, which is about 5 years ago, and I was the first director of the school. About to hand over to Michael Sanders, who is also on these podcasts, and I'm here joined now by one of our earliest students, and now a much revered alumni, because she's also a visiting professor, Walia.
Thank you, Andrew. Really pleased to be here talking to you.
Cavalier, you joined us really in the first cohort. What made you join us, given that you already had a high-profile job in the civil service?
What made me join? A number of reasons. One, despite the fact that I've been in civil service for most of my adult career, I've done quite an eclectic and varied number of roles across very many departments. I've never described myself as a policy official, as a purist policy official. I've always done operational policy, delivery, commercial delivery, contract management, but never what I would call pure policy. And so I thought I'd better go back to school and learn how to do it properly. And also to do it in a much more rigorous way than perhaps, I was doing it up until then. So that was one of the reasons. I'm also a lifelong learner, and civil service is great in terms of its investment into people for all things learning and development. So it was a fairly easy process, a fairly easy conversation to have with colleagues within HM Treasury, where I was at the time, sort of get funding for this type of course. They were very supportive, and it was lockdown. So there were a number of reasons why I was able to find the time, I had the motivation, and also at a stage in my career, as I say, where I just wanted to formally go back to tools, techniques, some academic rigor in terms of how one goes about making policy.
You say you're a lifelong learner, and quite a few of the people who join us would probably find themselves in a similar way. Others not so much, and it's a long time since they were at university. And they find it quite difficult to adjust. The 5 credit units, of course, we want 50. I've got modules, we want 50 hours of study, which some people find quite hard to fit in around their day job, particularly if there's a change of government or a change of minister or a new policy. How did you find coping with work and with study?
I think when you embark on any kind of extracurricular activity, whether it's an academic course, whether it's learning to dance and you're working full-time or even part-time for that matter, and you may have care or responsibilities or other things in your life, then I think, self-discipline and managing time is part of the deal that you need to set for yourself. And you do need to think very carefully about how you're going to fit everything in and how you're going to prioritise, particularly as deadlines come on, because the course I did, as you will know, there were definitely deadlines. And yes, you could always apply for an extension if you had good enough reason. But I would advise anybody thinking about doing the course that I did, not to be put off by the fact that you do need to make time and do need to prioritise, but to have a serious think about how you're going to reschedule, how you're going to gain the support of colleagues. I had a fabulous team that I worked with at the time who were very supportive. I was very open and honest with them about the time I needed to do the course as well as lead the team and work with and deliver what we were delivering at the time. So you do need supportive colleagues. You need supportive people at home to give you that sort of peace and quiet to do. But I would also say is, what I would also say is once you started in the world of work, there's a lot of learning that you've already acquired. So it's not like doing your A-levels, God forbid, all over again. It's not that kind of commitment to that kind of time. You might surprise yourself and actually need less time than the 50 hours. I'm not sure whether I should say that. But I think there are ways of bringing your own acquired learning. Most of us read something all the time or hear something, whether it's a podcast. And some of the learning techniques, some of the teaching techniques are also very easy to absorb. So lots of discussions, lots of debates. You build a network very quickly in the class that you join. People help each other out. You share out the research. I think most people, if you've got to civil service and you've got to the point where you're thinking about doing this course, you won't be bad at sort of reprioritising and managing your time.
No, I'm glad you said that. I was going to say, people at your level who come onto the course, they're a variety of ways, high flyers, even if they've not been on the high flying course, but they're people who already have degrees. And as you know, because you do it every year, there's quite a tough review of your performance in the civil service. So it is constant examinations. And I have to say, all of our external examiners, when they've looked at the work, have commented that we mark very generously, I guess is the word, how I say. So I send them all the high scoring essays, assessments, etc. And I say, no, in fact, you could even mark them higher. These are really good people. So the external validation, and of course via our review with the Australian New Zealand School of Government as well, remark on the high quality of the students. So that's quite useful. But tell me as well, I mean, you joined during one of those endless lockdown periods, and at King's we'd already set up the online startup. We'd only just set it up actually, so it came in time. But I know some of your colleagues much prefer the face-to-face, but we set it up in line with what the civil service asked us to do at the time.
Sure.
5 years ago now. Do you think we should look at it again, or do we still need to keep the mixed, some online, some preset, some face-to-face? What do you think is the most benefit?
Well, first of all, I did it all online, as you know, and here we are talking to each other face-to-face, and we've maintained a very good working relationship, I'd like to think, and I've met many of your other colleagues and got involved in all sorts of aspects of the work of the school. So even though I started off as an online student, we have face-to-face contact, and it is possible to sort of graduate from online delivery into sort of creating your own networks and getting to know people in the real world, in person. My personal preference, though, out with lockdown situations is I don't think you can ever beat face-to-face classroom tuition. Now, I'm from a certain era, you might say, but I don't think it's just me and my generation. I think a lot of people are brought up. We're social animals. We're not people. When they debate, when they challenge, when they learn, when they want to be provoked, they like to do it in person, and they enjoy the chemistry, and then they enjoy going out for a cup of coffee together or a glass of wine to review and evaluate what they've done for that session or for that morning or for that day. So I guess I'm not fudging the question. I think hybrid that's a very popular term. I think a bit of both is best. I think we live in a very inclusive society. All organisations are very aware of their commitments to ensure that everybody of all backgrounds, of all abilities, can do whatever they want to do. I think we have to be cognizant that government itself is now not based in Whitehall. We tend not to use that term very much anymore. We're based all over the country. So I think if you had just face-to-face courses, in the Strand in your beautiful King's College buildings, I think that would actually be quite sad, because I think you'd cut off a lot of talent, a lot of people who live in Scotland or live in Darlington or live in York or any other city, even in Manchester, other cities in the UK. I think that would, you wouldn't see those students who weren't offering online, but a combination perhaps of having online teaching and then maybe get together days, where people can meet each other and network in person. I think it's probably the optimal model.
Okay, thank you. I tend to agree with you, because even in lockdown and after lockdown, we had ministers come in. One indeed, when he was on holiday in Portugal with his family, took half an hour out.
I remember.
Took half an hour out to come in and have a conversation with whoever was leading the seminar at that time. Coming back from the circle to the opening question, you're a senior civil servant, and you have been for some years, and you said you wanted to get some formal training on policy. Do you think this has helped you in your career?
Sure. Has it helped me in my career? It depends how you measure help and career. So I'm not a permanent secretary, so in that respect, it hasn't helped me to become a permanent secretary, but that was never my intention or my aspiration when I took on the course. Has it boosted my confidence? Has it boosted my ability to improve my evidence-based policymaking skills? Undoubtedly.
Right.
Has it given me a bit more sophistication in how I debate, challenge, and provoke myself, or indeed my team or fellow colleagues, and how I work with ministers and how I format advice to ministers? Then yes. So yes, it has helped my career. That sounds like personal development, but that personal development helps your career. So I think if you're coming onto the course thinking this will help me get promoted, which is, not a sinister aspiration to have, it's an aspiration that many people have, and are quite rightly so. I would also sort of think about other motivations for coming on to the course, not just this will look good on my CV and off I will go. Like any training, like any learning, like any academic course that you do in life, sometimes the benefits sort of accrue later on in life, and there are other building blocks that you need to help you progress. I found the networking very interesting, meeting people from other departments. I found the informal chatting. I found the case studies that we sort of pulled apart and then tried to put that together again, very, very useful. I found the academic rigor with which we spoke and talked to our professors really enlightening. I read wider and deeper about certain issues, international conflict resolution, which is something I've never done, but it was really useful to learn how it is done and how it could be done and how other people are doing it. I remember talking about a minister breaking off from his holiday. I remember colleagues from Beijing dialing in, sort of UK civil service colleagues talking about China policy. So I just picked up a real good breadth and depth of policy areas that I may never have sort of thought about or studied in any way, shape or form if I hadn't come on this course. Now, I've not gone off to be an international conflict negotiator, but what it's done is given me sort of a broader view of how the UK civil service works in these areas. So has it helped my career? Yes, but it's not a binary, and then I got promoted, and then I got more responsibilities, and then I got more money.
It's made you understand things.
I'd like to think I add more value than I did pre-course. I'd like to think I'm a better civil servant, yes.
Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you, Andrew.